Well, here with Jimmy Johnson, and earlier this week we talked about catching lightning in the bottle. You almost did. You finished third. How you feeling right now?
I feel really good. I knew we had a shot. We played a interesting strategy to keep the car straight and not damage it heading into the third segment. It worked out great. We had great track position running up front, and we were blocked in on one of our pit stops, and it just crushed us for the final 40 laps. But those cautions started to happen, and was able to get some track position back. Made a couple good decisions and gained more track position, and then was fortunate to get through that wreck without being collected.
You're a guy that has done everything in this sport. Why does a third place finish bring tears to your eyes?
I never dreamed of being a car owner, and to have the last couple of years develop and to be a car owner and to finish third at the Daytona 500 as a car owner is just something I'm mentally not prepared for, emotionally not prepared for, and just extremely thankful. A lot of people to be thankful for, and of course Carvana and Shaq got his car in top three. Maury Gallagher, my former partner in the team, Nighthead Capital coming in and their support. Just, I don't know, I just never saw myself in this position, so it's wild.
I don't mean to bust your chops, but there was one thing that went wrong. The uniform, the Shaq uniform. What happened here? Why didn't this get worn tonight?
I went back to our corporate bus to speak with some sponsors and such, and I changed into my street clothes. And then when I went to go back into the motorhome to change, the latch on the bus was broken, and I couldn't get in. So I was scrambling, ran back to the transporter, and had last year's suit in there and threw it on and came out. So I'm sorry, Shaq, we did have a little snafu and things.
Well, other than that, I would say this night went pretty good for you. Congratulations on a good performance.
Appreciate it.
Right, they're going to be in Arizona this Sunday before finally coming home to host the Falcons on the 21st.
They can work all the kinks out by the time they come back home, right? Carolina Sports Live's Mike Lissette joining us with a look at what went wrong for the Panthers in Jacksonville. Mike, good Monday morning, my friend.
I mean, sure. It's good, I guess.
We have to. As Ted says, sometimes you got to bring your own sunshine.
That's right.
Okay. So we know the prediction that we had. We'll get to that later on from Friday. But what was your gut reaction, even in just the first 15 minutes, Mike?
The first 15 minutes were okay. The defense was holding up, and then, of course, it started raining, and then everything after that sort of fell apart. But the big thing to me was Bryce. I mean, what was going on? I mean, it looked like 2000 early season 24 Bryce, where he was making mistakes. He wasn't finishing off plays. They were turning the ball over. The defense was struggling mightily. There were a lot of things that went wrong, but to me, it all starts and ends with Bryce. Obviously, the defense needs to get better, but this Panther team can't do anything unless Bryce is playing much better than what he played on Sunday.
Speaking of Bryce Young's play, went back into the archives to see if Bryce has ever played worse for us. He has. It happened to be last year during the opener where he went for 13 for 30 for 161 yards, a 43% completion percentage, and 2 interceptions. Yesterday, he was slightly better. He completed 51%. Mike, last year when he started this poorly, he ended up getting benched. Is Bryce immediately on alert after just one game?
I would hope not. I don't think he is, but I would hope not. We can't keep living like this. We can't keep living where Bryce has a bad game, he gets benched. It cannot be so topsy-turvy. Now, I'm not saying he's allowed to have a bad game. I mean, he is allowed to have a bad game. But there needs to be some stability into the fact that, hey, just because you go out and perform badly doesn't mean the house of cards is all going to fall down. The franchise right now needs to show a little stability. They need to make little tweaks. But a gigantic move or even a hint to Bryce that he's in danger of being benched is dangerous at this point. I would not do it.
Okay, and obviously for, your mental health and for, getting that drive going, it is the first game of the season. Mike, how do you fix this, right? Because it's the same thing over and over again. A lot of this with Bryce. But what about the O-line? What about some of the receivers? They didn't play all that great either. How do you bounce back from this?
The old offensive line is very concerning because that, as we've talked about all offseason, was supposed to be their creme de la creme, their strength. And in that first game, there were many, many problems. Austin Corbett is a wonderful, wonderful human being, just a sweetheart of a person to talk to in the locker room, plays hard all the time, but he did not have a good game at all. I mean, a lot of it starts with his ability to snap the ball to Bryce. The two of them just were not in sync. Now, I recognize, again, there was a battle for the starting position. He won out, and maybe there's still some things to work on, but I mean, it's got to start with that. As far as the receivers go, the good news was Xavier Legette wasn't dropping balls yesterday. He just wasn't keeping his feet in bounds. So I guess progress. But I will say, you talk about the receivers. The one positive was Teteroa McMillan. Now, I recognize there were some could-be's, what-ifs that he had yesterday, but man, oh man, were they special. I mean, that one-handed catch, the thing in the end zone. And when he was completing plays, it was promising. And again, I always think back to the night that he was drafted and being in the room and just sort of hearing the audible groan from people in the room, media members, that when he was taken, to see everyone sort of come full circle yesterday and be like, wow, but this guy's special. That's cool. And I'm hoping that he's able to continue that going. He's going to have ups and downs. He's a rookie, but yesterday was promising as far as he goes.
All right, Mike, quickly, we know today's film day. Canales is going to be standing in front of the team going through, fast forwarding to when they got over the weather delay. Where do you stop the tape and go, okay, this right here? And then fast forward 2 seconds later, like, where do you even start to break this down? There's so much work that needs to be done.
Again, to me, honestly, there probably isn't that much. I know it sounds weird, but there probably isn't that much to be said because the players can see it. From reading the quotes and seeing the interviews yesterday, the players, I think, yesterday were shocked. They did not think that this could happen to them. They thought that they had put in the work and they had come so far and they were ready to take the next step. So maybe a little bit of humbling is good. Maybe all Canales has to do is push the play button and be quiet and let the actions speak for themselves and let it soak in just one more time. This is what happens when you don't execute. Do you like this feeling? No, you don't. So let's go forward from there.
Oh, Mike, I wish there was more things to say positive about them. I guess, yeah, Teteroa McMillan, it's like, hey, it's not much, but it's honest work. Look at this receiver we got.
That's what we got.
There's always next week. Mike, only one game in. We appreciate you joining us, brother.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Guys,
that's right.
Just a side note there. All right, so they're going down to Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars. Sunday at 1 is kickoff for the new season, and there's a lot of hope and optimism that Carolina can surprise the football world, Julian.
I believe it, and you know who, I don't know, maybe he believes it, maybe he doesn't, but look at this guy right here, friend of the show, Carolina Sports Labs, Mike Lissette. You can normally catch him on BBKL, but we have him on the morning show. Mike, are we going to be okay Sunday? Odds makers don't necessarily like our chances. It makes me uneasy that Icky hasn't practiced so far all week. He's been feeling icky. How are we going to do Sunday in Jacksonville?
That is good. And Icky, that is not good. I have seen him in practice the last couple of days. He's been off to the side doing drills, really kind of working on stretching, I guess, for the core, which is coming off the appendectomy. We're going to learn today. Dave Canales will speak around noontime to get an update on who's playing and who's not. The offensive line is the bread and butter of this team. That was the one big consistent strength of that squad from last year, and they could be down one of their corner pieces. Now, the good news is they've got a good veteran backup situation that could help out. Josh Nijman has been practicing hard. Brady Christensen potentially ready to fill in that spot. So we'll learn today. As far as the overall vibe of the team, I mean, look, there's a lot we don't know. I mean, this Carolina team is still very much a work in progress. There's still a lot of parts that are still coming together in terms of how it's all going to work. So I don't necessarily pay attention to the odds makers just because there's so much we don't know about how this team is going to perform. It's like that great line from Mike Tyson. Everyone's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. It all looks good in practice, but what's it going to look like in the game?
All right, Mike. Mike. So listen, you're the offensive coordinator, all right? The first possession, the first time we get the ball, for the first 4 plays, what is in your playbook for the offense that we currently have? What would you do with this team?
Well, if I'm to believe Dave Canales, they love that run. So I do think they're going to come out and run the ball first, just kind of test the offensive line that way. And then they'll end up depending on how that goes, they'll end up testing with Bryce. Teteroa McMillan, I think, gets a couple early catches. Xavier Legette gets a couple early catches. Hunter Renfrow maybe gets targeted. I think they'll look to set up the run first and then go with the pass.
Okay, and I think fans would be excited to see that.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
lots of completions. Obviously, Mike, we want the win out of this one, but is even just a narrow victory enough to kind of get fans? Okay, well, hold on. You didn't let me finish my question.
Let her finish.
I guess that's it. Is a narrow win?
What do they got to do to lose to make people feel good about it? There's nothing. The people here, they don't want losers. They want wins. So nothing. They can come out and lose. I mean, Jacksonville's not a powerhouse. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Come on, Annie.
Come on, Annie.
His blood pressure.
If you would have let me finish my question.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
What I
Annie.
was saying
I'm
was,
excited about this.
let's
You go
pretend
first.
we get the win here, but it is only a narrow win, and the team just not looking super duper great. Is the win still enough for optimism for what is to come for the season, or do we have to have a major win to get that excitement?
I apologize. I misunderstood your question.
You did.
Now I understand where
You
you're going.
did, Michael. Thank you for
I was
acknowledging that.
wrong. I was wrong. No, I mean, listen, a 3-0 victory, I don't think that's going to excite the fan base. I mean, if they win 3-0 and it's a defensive stalwart, I mean, that might excite it. But if it's nothing but a field goal fest, I don't think that's going to excite them. This team needs to put the ball in the end zone. They need to show that the offense is reliable. These are things that frustrated the fan base in the preseason when Bryce wasn't going. I think that's what fans want to see. They got to see that win. But I think above all else, they want to see a free-flowing offense that leaves room for growth and the promise that good things are ahead.
That's exactly what the answer I was hoping you would give. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike, I do want to ask you, bigger storyline heading into Sunday, right? You got Liam Cohen, new Jaguars head coach, right? And you got Travis Hunter. Everybody was a college phenom, seeing how he'll play, or is a bigger storyline Bryce Young, Ted McMillan, Dave Canales and company, year 2? What's the bigger storyline heading into Sunday?
I mean, to the country, it's obviously Travis. It's him. I mean, that's the big one. Where's he going to move around the full field? What's he going to do on offense? What's he going to do on defense? That was something that Dave Canales talked about, sort of the great unknown in terms of how he's going to affect the game plan. I think he will make an impact on Dave Canales and company in terms of what they're able to prepare for, because there's a lot they don't know. But here in Carolina, the general big buzz storyline is this the year this team finally takes off. We had a horrible growing pain first year with Bryce Young. The next year, it looked like it was all going to fall apart, and then they sort of came together at the end. Now is the time. It's put up or shut up to these Panthers. Can they put it all together and play consistent football over the course of a full season? That's what people want to see. That's what people are hoping for. And if they can't, well, then, I don't think Dave Canales is going anywhere, but I think the team will look to possibly go in a different direction with Bryce. This could be put up or shut up for Bryce this year.
Hey, Mike, quickly, the prediction hotline just called. They want your prediction for the score.
I'll go Carolina 17-14. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I like it. All right, Michael, thanks, my friend. Always good to see you. Appreciate that. Looking forward to a great weekend of some football.
Happy to talk to you guys.
As always,